30 years ago, when avant-garde watchmaking was something of an anomaly, some of the best designers and entrepreneurs in the industry sat down and thought, what would a retro futuristic watch look like? So they made one, and then a few more. IKEPOD was positioned as a serious luxury contemporary watchmaker, so the prices kind of made sense, especially considering the manufacturing process of a bespoke watch design. Remember, this was in the 90s, so the concept of micro and independent watchmaking was basically non existent, but the world wasn't ready for them. The brand was too new and the price was too high, so it shut down in 2006. But in 2017, it came back, and this time incredibly well designed, well made, and having a far more affordable price tag. And what's interesting to me is that the roots of the brand haven't changed with this new approach, meaning that while you are getting Miura calibers in most of these instead of the high end Swiss calibers as before, IKEPOD is still heavily invested in collaborating with world class designers to create these little wrist candies. At first glance, they look simple. They may even look like they've all been designed by the same person, at least that's what I thought at the beginning. But in reality, each of the lineups within the IKEPOD brand, your Megapods, your Duopods, C-Pods, are all designed by different people from the watch industry. Designers like Emmanuel Guide, the man behind the Chronopod, is famous for coming up with the original Audemars Piguet Royal Oak offshore, which also got him yelled at by Gerald Genta himself. Mark Newson, the Australian designer, most well known for the original Apple Watch, the JLC Atmos clocks, and this Lockheed lounge chair that sold for $3.7 million. Or even Fabrice Gonet, designer of the C-Pod, is also the mind behind avant-garde luxury timepieces like the Debetune DB28GS, the MBNF Medusa, and several other independent watch brands. The watch I have here today is something I haven't been able to take off my wrist. I brought it home for a shoot, but ended up wearing it at this coffee place because it is just so cool and so comfortable. I don't do this too often. I don't get attached. I can't. Otherwise, I'd end up buying every single watch I talk about. But let me tell you about this one. At the most attainable end, you've got the Duopods and the Chronopods, powered by quartz calibers. On the higher end, you have the Skypod. This right here is a Megapod, which sits somewhere in the middle and is the perfect gateway into the brand within their automatic calibers. Designed by Alexandre Beraldi, most known for his extensive work with Baume and Mercier, the Megapod Rob sits on the more minimal side of the design spectrum of these modern watches. The watch comes in a 46mm fully brushed stainless steel case with a thickness of 17mm. But what makes this watch wear so well on nearly any wrist size is the absence of lugs. You get a dome sapphire crystal covering the dial, a push-pull crown that's easy to operate, and a silicone rubber strap that looks and feels like it's straight out of the Apple Store. The hairline finishing of the case is nothing short of impressive. I mean, it's not exactly sophisticated, but it is done incredibly well with no visible imperfections. And then we move on to the dial, and this is my favorite part. To me, what makes it special is the little details that won't jump right at you. Things that you'll start to discover and appreciate over time. Little things, like those rounded loomed hour and minute hands, dark grainy texture that resembles asphalt, and the best of all, those slightly raised Arabic numerals on the inner chapter ring. I mean, just look at the form factor of this thing. This does not look like a chapter ring. It looks like the midsection of this seemingly solid block of round metal was carved out. I was even surprised by the quality and the longevity of the loom. Typically, for non-sports watches, the loom is just kind of there to check the box, I suppose. But that's not the case here. They've done it beautifully. The movement is one of the biggest cost-cutting measures here. You will not be buying this watch for its movement. Let's just get that out of the way. But instead for its unique design. And in this case, I don't use the word unique lightly. Inside the watch, you have the automatic Japanese Miura 9039, beating at a rate of 4 Hz and offering a power reserve of 42 hours when fully wound. Not all Miura movements are made equally, and the Caliber 9 series is a decently finished, reliable caliber that you won't be having issues with. Now, if you do have 10 grand lying around, you could go for the super high-end SkyPod, which houses a top-grade Swiss Le Jouperet chronograph caliber. But if you want to stick with this design under the $1,500 price tag, then you're getting the Miura movements. Now, what do I think of this watch? Personally, I like IKEPOD, and I definitely see one in my collection, especially this dial. As somebody with a past in the design industry, I appreciate the legacy and the minimalist styling of the watch. It's minimalist without being boring, which, trust me, is not easy to do. But let me know in the comments what you think about this watch and the revival of this brand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to help us out, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.